Walt Disney, women of the Maasai tribe, models, children, beautiful landscapes. There seems to be no shortage of people, moments, and memories captured by legendary Kodak photographer Neil Montanus. The man whose images have been seen and celebrated by millions around the world is now celebrating a rebirth of sorts in his career at age 90. Just before his special exhibition, Neil Montanus is at the table and joined by his son and fellow photographer, Jim Montanus, also the owner of Montanus Gallery. And it is great to have both of you here. Thank you.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
So Neil, I have to ask.
Yes.
Did you ever think to yourself in your 35-year career, I get paid to do this?
I missed the last three words.
Did you ever think in your career, did you ever come to the realization that, hey, I'm getting paid to do this and travel around the world?
Yeah, it was hard to believe that they would send me all over the world several times over. And I just was my seventh heaven.
I believe it. I believe it. Did you ever think when your father came home, you're thinking, my gosh, he's taking photographs of models, celebrities, well-known people. Did you ever think he gets to do this? What a job.
Yeah. Well, at first, you know, it was a part of our everyday lives. So it was just like kind of routine for us.
So his passion spilled over into the home then too.
Well, it did. I mean, in fact, interestingly enough, when we were kids, especially me, we didn't really like photography so much. And the reason is because my dad was constantly shooting. and so when you see a lot of my pictures when I was, you know, in the 3 to 8 year old range, I'm scowling a lot of the time or just outright crying. But that was one of the secrets of my dad's career, is that he never stopped shooting. Family picnics, you know, you name it. He was constantly shooting our neighbors, friends, cousins, relatives. But those pictures...
Pretty girls, don't forget.
Oh yeah,
those.
pretty girls. Yeah.
That was the best part.
Oh yeah, yeah. But so those pictures that he was constantly taking started filling up the photo files at Kodak. And so, you know, we'd walk into a drugstore back then, you know, where they sold film in a drugstore, and you'd see, oh my God, that's me. I'm like a Kodak film product at one of our picnics, you know? Yeah. And I think that was one of the secrets to his career, is how hard he worked, because he was constantly working, constantly taking pictures, testing, planning, and so you know, that was a big thing. Yeah.
Neil, you said pretty girls, one being Sybil Shepherd.
Yes, Sybil Shepherd and many more famous models.
So did anybody leave a lasting impression on you?
Yeah, Sybil Shepherd. She was so sweet to me, and very, very nice girl. But besides being beautiful, she was very kind and not stuck up like some models. Because I photographed probably thousands of models out of New York and all over the world. So I got my fill of models.
Was there ever anything that you wanted to photograph but did not get to?
No, I don't think there was. I think I photographed everything that walked and talked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm curious, you have such an eye, and we see it in advertisements, we see it in so many of your photographs. What does it take to have a photographer's eye?
Well, I guess experience. When you first start out, you're not quite sure of things, but as years go on, you get smarter. Yeah. And more used to seeing things, and if I pause, it's because I'm 90 years old. I gotta take a word.
That's true. And speaking of, so happy belated birthday, because your birthday was in March, but we do have a special birthday celebration coming up and a photographic exhibition celebrating your works. What can we expect, Jim?
Well, it's like a career retrospective of my dad's work. It shows a lot of pictures, dating back to the 40s and 50s up until present times. A lot of the Kodak Coloramas will be on display. My dad shot more than any other single photographer, more Coloramas.
The king of Coloramas.
Yeah.
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 There's one of them.
We've got one of them here. Yes, we've got some in our video.
Underwater Colorama.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So I know that this is kind of like a rebirth and that new generations are being introduced to your work.
Mm-hmm.
How, as his son, how do you want high school students, college students, young millennials, maybe some seeing your father's work for the first time to connect with it, respond to it?
Well, we see a lot of younger people coming into our gallery, and a lot of the younger generation, they're just genuinely amazed at these pictures because of the cool vintage quality of these photos. And to think about that there were jobs like this at one point. You'll never see a job like this again. I call it, it was the photographer's dream job, to be able to just travel the world with seemingly unlimited budgets. I mean, back then at Kodak, the advertising budgets were fat, and the travel budgets were fat as well. And so, it doesn't happen like that anymore in the corporate world. So, we're definitely introducing his work. It's one of my missions to introduce his work to a whole new generation, because, years ago, 25, 35 years ago, he was really a household name in Kodak because he was constantly in the Kodakery, which had like a 60 or 70,000 people circulation in Rochester, and he was in Kodakery like every other week. It seemed like, and so it seemed like everybody knew who Neil Montanus was back 35 years ago. Well, now I'm introducing him to a whole new generation of people.
Neil,
Yeah.
what advice would you give to a young photographer right now?
Right now, well, you got to be schooled somewhat in photography, for one thing, and you have to practice and practice. I had a family to practice on, so I got pretty good at that. So I guess just work hard and keep your nose to the
grindstone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good advice.
Yeah. Well, that's what you taught me.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what that's what he taught me. Is hard. Is that hard work? That's don't stop shooting, practicing.
That you were really good, Jim. You listened to me, and I took you with him around the country.
Yeah, he took me on some
Taught him
amazing trips too. That was one of the benefits of being the son of Neil Montanus, was you got to travel with him a lot too. And he took me on some really cool trips. The one that stands out is that.
Well, I'm sorry, and I hate to interrupt, but we
Yeah.
do have to close because
Okay.
we are at time for the show.
Sure.
But I want to make sure people have information. Do not
Yep.
miss the 90th birthday celebration and photographic exhibition of Neil Montanus. That's on Friday, April 7th. Also Saturday, April 15th at the Montanus Gallery in downtown Rochester. For hours and directions, go to montanusphotography.com.